Down. Off.
For 39 years, Officer Candidate School has turned out about a third of the Navy's non-aviation officers, 97,000 in all. The Naval Academy and ROTC account for the rest. In 16 short weeks, it transforms civilians into naval officers. Ask anyone here, they'll tell you it's a tough way to spend 4 months.
The combination of everything, time management, being able to get everything done that you have to get done, and meeting all your responsibilities.
The stress, the pressure of day in and day out.
Few good memories are from the first days here. A new class arrived civilians until they entered King Hall. Hell was waiting. Today, they're just in docks. Soon they'll be candidates. And in 16 weeks, they'll be naval officers.
Best behavior in others. Chief. Will tolerate those who do.
Long-haired rebels invaded King Hall, posting in every P-way. With a suitcase in one hand and a college degree in the other, we all said, hey, we want to be naval officers. An indoctrination process began with unprecedented magnitude. We entered a week-long whirlwind where words like leadership, virtue, ethics, responsibility, and professionalism began to echo continuously. Dramatically, floors became decks, walls became bulkheads, stairs became ladders, doors became hatches. We learned the concept of teamwork, supplementing one another, and excelling for the good of the whole. We also began to ask ourselves some very familiar questions. Were we good enough to meet such demands? Will I ever be described by such criteria? Can I survive at OCS?
OCS to me was an experience I'll never forget. I came here not really knowing what to expect, and I'd never been in the service before. And my recruiter had gone through OCS a number of years ago before the bat chiefs really started taking over the drill and PT sessions. So it was quite a shock to find out that it was going to be 16 hard weeks. I knew the first week was going to be hard because it was hard, I guess, for a long time, but it was more than that. It was constant pressure. I'm really proud of myself for having survived, actually. I didn't want to tell a lot of people, well, yeah, this is what I'm going to do, because I was afraid I'd be coming back real quick. But I survived, and I'm really proud of myself, like I said. It was a mental challenge. I mean, I thought I was really good at school, and I did. The physical training was far beyond anything I expected. I mean, I expected it to be hard, but it was harder than that, because it was not just running or not just doing push-ups. It was doing those things with someone yelling at you constantly to do better. The bat chiefs were just incredible motivators. That's why they're here, I guess.
I didn't expect what I got when I first came to OCS. I expected it more to be more classroom, more academic, and the first week was pure torture because that's all they do is make you march, make you run, make you PT, and if you're not in shape when you come into OCS, by the time you leave, you will be in shape. And that's one thing I appreciate from OCS, that it does, does help you physically, but not only physically, that just comes along, it also helps you mentally, because they wake you up at 5 o'clock in the morning, whether you like it or not. Many times you'll be waking up at 4 to get work done, and it teaches you a little discipline. You have classes to go to, and then you also have PT to worry about, and you have other responsibilities that you have to take care of. And all that, you only have a certain amount of hours that you can study. So time management is something that you learn here very, very quickly. And stress management is another thing you learn here very quickly. And even though it was not what I expected, I wouldn't trade it for the world. If they were to ask me what would you change about OCS, it would really take me a long time to think of exactly what I would change, because they do have a very regimented, and they do teach you.
Expecting to start on our merry path towards becoming ensigns. To our profound and everlasting surprise, found out that we'd become indocs instead. For those who did not quite catch on to the entire deck, bulkhead, stanchion concept right away, our battalion chiefs were prepared to upgrade our level of knowledge with a stimulating teaching aid. Just push. Some of us did not catch on to the game plan quick enough. The battalion chiefs had another plan. Just push forever. The message became crystal clear soon enough. 78 thunderstruck individuals began the task of uniting into battalions under the command of our 3 hardcore, dedicated, and motivated battalion chiefs. Chiefs did, however, have a little help on the side. Our seniors were kind enough to spend some of their spare time with us and teach us the proper military way to shower, dress, walk, and eat with a purpose. The phrase 10, 9, 8, you're done was heard on occasion, usually followed by, why are you so slow? Always spoken in the strangest of tones, the command voice. Our seniors soon had us snapping and popping with reckless abandon as the days passed, the push-ups accumulated, and the first week mercifully drew to an end. As fate would have it, a new class was scheduled to arrive, and we were assigned to ensure that their welcome stay here was as warm and joyous as ours was. Battle cries of "Indoc on deck" and "Attack that door" filled the passageways of King Hall once again, and the hunted had become the hunter. Shipmates who had previously been very mild-mannered and even-tempered became difficult to recognize in the heat of battle. As our second Indoc phase progressed, a realization set in that training a new class of Indocs to become officer candidates would require more than simply telling them what to do and how to do it, even when using the command voice. The chief said we had to get the Indocs to and from scheduled evolutions on time. Of course, it had to look good getting there. Naturally, they couldn't leave their spaces looking like trash while they were gone, could they? And what do you do when someone just simply does not have a bathrobe to get to the shower? The shower that they needed real bad. Well, it took ingenuity for Mr. Ellsworth to put that Indoc in a raincoat. It took dedication to show that 1 or 2 special Indocs over and over again exactly how to get to regional rooms. It took motivation to get them to move from learning the basics to refining them as a team. In short, it took leadership and teamwork, skills that we had cultivated and refined for the previous 10 weeks.
Yeah, the ship handling tank is designed to give the officer candidates an opportunity to put their standard commands to practical use and to see how a ship would react to these commands. We do this in a controlled environment so that they're able to learn from their mistakes. Better to learn from their mistakes here in this tank than underway. The officer candidates rotate between positions from the officer deck and the conning officer and the helmsman and lee helmsman. Now they take their ships around the tank, and as they're moving the ships around, they walk with each individual ship as they're driving it and giving the commands. A lot of commands that they give, they end up giving at times in the wrong sequence as to how it's to be given. But they are corrected, and the mistakes end up getting fewer and fewer by the time their period here in the tank is over with.
It is a high-tech Navy, satellites, computers, sophisticated weapons, but strip all of that away and the Navy still is ships and the men and women who sail them.
Left full rudder eye.
So the officer candidates go down to the sea in yard patrol craft.
See, the YP or Yard Patrol Craft rides for the officer candidates, with naval warfare we have 3 rides. The first one is a man overboard drill, where each of them gets to drive and conduct 2 man overboard recoveries. The last 2 of the 3 YP rides consist of what we call division tactic rides, what is really a practical application of maneuvering and seamanship and moorboard skills that they learned in the seamanship curriculum. Now they have a chance to apply that during the naval warfare YP rides, which consists basically of listening for the signals given by the officer conducting the exercise, interpreting the signals, and then applying that to safely maneuver the ship into position within a formation.
What we're going to show you this morning is how to inflate your shirt. 2 methods depending on the type of shirt you have on. And we're also going to show you how to inflate your pants. 3 ways. One of the first things you want to do when you end up in the water is get flotation into your shirt. We're going to show you how to do that. Next, t-shirt. If you end up in a nice warm climate again, you want to remove this t-shirt, put it on upside down on your head, pull it down as far as you can over your eyebrows, over your ears, let it hang back down over the back of your neck, and then put your shirt back on. And this is going to protect you from getting a real bad sunburn on most of your face and your back of your neck. Now, to inflate your shirt, for lack of a belt today, there are 2 methods. And the first method is just simply oral inflation. I told you to put your belt on the outside of your shirt if you had a collar that you cannot secure. You can't button the collar or the jacket. Put the belt on the outside. For lack of a belt today, all you're going to do is tie the tails of your shirt together, like so. Next thing you're going to do is fold the collar up. Like you're a prepster in college, you're going to roll forward gently, and you're going to exhale right into this opening. It's got to be buttoned all the way up. You're going to exhale into this opening. If you have a short sleeve shirt on, you must keep your arms in tight or the air will just blow out through the bottom of the hole. Anyways, pull it nice and tight, lean forward, and exhale right into the opening. Before you pick your head up, you want to close this off nice and tight like the shirt was too small for you. Pull it real tight and then slide your head up and stay leaning forward. It's very easy, very simple, and it'll keep you afloat for about 10 minutes. Next, if you came down and fortunate enough to fall in the water in a long sleeve button-up shirt or just a regular shirt that buttons all the way up or a jacket that you can secure the hood around your head, then this is a method you're going to use. It's called the J-stroke. Going to button it all the way up to the collar. If the collar is still a little loose, go ahead and tuck the collar in your neck. Then you're going to grab it at the bottom button. Leaning slightly forward, you're going to take your hand above the surface of the water. I repeat, above the surface of the water, and you're going to drive the air down and up into the shirt. This will inflate the shirt and enough air to keep you afloat for approximately half an hour. You must always lean forward with the shirt. If you lean back, the air will come out through the buttonholes, and you'll tell me it doesn't work. All right? Next, I'm going to have you inflate the pants. But before you do that, you have to remove them. When you remove them, you must have the legs going in the same direction, either inside out or right side out, but not one of each. Then you're going to tie the legs together in a simple overhand knot, as close as you can to the cuff, like so. Then you're going to do 3 methods. The first method is the old Boy Scout method, over the shoulder. You're going to take the pants, lay them over your shoulder like so, slide the waist back so that it's even with your chin. Naturally reach up and grab the pants with your fingers on the inside, thumbs on the out. Now all you're going to do is the same method as putting a cup upside down in the water. You're just going to come up, drive the pants down onto the surface of the water. Gather the waist up, slip it over your head, lay back and relax, and these will keep you afloat. The next one is used to either initially inflate the pants or to refurbish the pants after the air starts to leak out. Today you're going to use it as an initial inflation. You're going to squeeze all the air out of the pants. Slide the pants all the way back. Going to bring the pants up towards the surface of the water, and you're going to do the same as you did with the J-stroke, or for your shirt rather, as a J-stroke. All you're going to do is drive the air into the pants. This method is very easy, and it puts the most air into the pants. You must always lay back on the pants. If you lean forward, you're going to squeeze the air out of the pants. Also, in a real situation in the middle of the ocean, you have to keep the pants wet, so you continually splash them, because as soon as they dry out, you will lose all the air out of the pants. The last method, there's no telling what happened to you, why you ended up in the water. You may have broke your arm, you may have dislocated a shoulder. Whatever the case, you don't have the dexterity to throw the pants up over your head, do the J-stroke. This time, you're just going to lay the pants on the surface of the water, the knot away from you. Take the waist and turn it down towards the bottom of the pool like so. Take the bridge of your nose, lay it on the waist of the pants, and exhale up into the pants. It takes about 4 or 5 very good exhalations, and the pants will be fully inflated.
Left, right, all right to left, you're on away, oh. Left, right to left, you're on away, oh. Left, right, all right to left. double time. We're on the double time. First bet. First bet. Where you at? Where you at? Second bet. Second bet. Where you at? Where you at? Third bet. Third bet. Where you at? Where you at? Turn up the volume. Turn up the volume. Just like a radio. Just like a radio. A little bit louder. Little bit louder. A whole lot louder. A whole lot louder. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's time to do the alphabet, Jody.
job to save the trainer, our job to sink the trainer, and we've been doing our job a hell of a lot longer than you've been doing yours. Going down this ladder facing into that compartment, make sure you have a firm grip on the handrail with one hand. The reason I say one hand is because you'll be carrying your patching materials down in your rubber. And the reason you want to have a firm grip on that handrail is because you'll have a ruptured fire main right here. And it's going to be blowing 150 pounds of fire main pressure across these ladder treads. This 150 pounds of fire main pressure is going to have a tendency to wash your feet out underneath of you. So make sure you have a firm grip on that handrail and you put your feet planted firmly on those ladder treads. We don't want you to be washed away. We will take every advantage of every mistake that you make. We are going to do our utmost to put as much water into that compartment, all 750 gallons per minute, and hold you up from getting in there to stop that water from coming in. Unlike the classroom where all the sound is muffled, the Buttercup trainer is like an echo chamber, okay? If all of you down there get down there and start screaming, shouting, carrying on, first thing that's going to happen is your communication is going to break down between your team leaders. After that happens, your teamwork will break down. Once your teamwork breaks down, we sink the trainer. How much water is on deck? 0 to 9 feet. I can guarantee you right now that it's never going to be 0. Okay? The 9 foot will depend upon you, on how well you do.
at Officer Candidate School, we follow tradition and custom in selecting and assigning an officer candidate as regimental commander. In the assignment as officer candidate, regimental commander, the officer candidate selected is given the unique opportunity to lead in a position of responsibility early in their career as a naval officer. I want to introduce to you the regimental commander for Officer Candidate School Class 93005. Officer Candidate David K. Anderson is a resident of Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Officer Candidate Anderson is married to the former Deborah Coates. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the regimental commander for Class 93005, Officer Candidate David Anderson.
all the family and friends that are here, of course my fellow graduates. I'd also like to welcome you to the commissioning ceremonies, Class 93005. 17 long weeks ago, 69 civilians and prior enlisted personnel arrived in Newport to begin their indoctrination into the naval profession. Appropriately labeled as indocs, all of us immediately began to figure the odds of our ability to survive the rigorous course ahead of us. Though the training was intense, all but a few of us cleared this first hurdle and became officer candidates. We also learned an important lesson along the way, that the Navy way of life is not for everyone. The loss of a few classmates from our numbers made this point very clear. However, our success gave us the strength and determination to continue on with our training. Having attained the status of officer candidates, we continue along the track towards graduation. Our days are spent learning the basic skills required of naval officers. One of the first things we learned was teamwork, or cooperate to graduate. As we spent our nights studying for tests and preparing for inspections, we also made sure that our shipmates and classmates were ready to the same extent that we were. The need for teamwork increased as we progressed through our training here at Officer Candidate School, and will be no less important as we continue our naval careers. Excuse me. We also learned we had the option to become stronger or smarter. In reality, there was no option, since we all stand here today stronger and smarter than when we arrived. Our instructors introduced us to a full range of professional competencies required to become effective naval officers, ranging from managing personnel to driving ships. However, these courses provide only basic fundamentals. All of us can expect to learn the finer details of our new profession as we continue on to our next duty stations and to the fleet. As a class, we'd like to thank our instructors for their efforts, care, and support. And I doubt that anyone sitting here is weaker than the day we arrived, either physically or mentally, especially physically. As officers, we stand continuously in the spotlight. We become instant role models for the men we lead, and the American public will expect the best we have to offer as trusted agents for protecting our way of life. Since a slovenly appearance, especially in uniform, hardly inspires respect and trust, we endure a rigorous physical training program guaranteed to produce physically fit naval officers. At the beginning, Chiefs Cleo and Lieutenant MacArthur, PTs, including 3 or 4 mile runs, were definitely not the most anticipated evolution of the day. However, as training progressed, the Regimental Athletic Coordinator ensured that our class would attain some of the highest physical readiness test scores in the history of the Officer Candidate School. It will now be up to each class to continue this level of training. In fact, we will be responsible for ensuring that the men and women under our command attain this level as well. And remember, leadership by example in all areas generates respect. Closely associated with our physical training is one of the most important lessons we learned at Officer Candidate School. Diamonds are forever. However, diamonds are not the only things that are forever. The initial training we received here forms the foundation for the rest of our naval careers. The lessons we learned from mistakes we made here are only the beginning of the lessons we'll learn. And the friendships that were begun here will never end. As we leave here on our new adventures, we should all keep in mind part of the address given in the 1961 plebe class at Annapolis by President John F. Kennedy. President Kennedy said, "Any man who may be asked in this century what he did to make his life worthwhile can respond with a good deal of pride and satisfaction. I served in the United States Navy." We're all about to begin our commissioned service in our Navy. I'm proud to take this step with my fellow classmates. I wish you all fair winds and following seats.
Michael Todd Adams, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Guayanini, California. William S. Bass, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Graduating with distinction, Joseph James Biondi, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Victor B. Bordadora, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Michael John Chinque, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Charles P. Cohn, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Patrick Connor, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Anthony C. Kriego, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Sean A. Davison, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Peter Fred Deppa, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. H. Toby Doan, Surface Warfare Officer School, Newport, Rhode Island. Zachary Cahill Dunham, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Lance J. Edling, Naval Civil Engineer Corps Officer School, Port Hueneme, California. Blake Daniel Eichenberry, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Jerry Dean Foster, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Brian Kevin Fullen, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Sam R. Geiger, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Graduating with distinction, Eric Edward George, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Maya B. Goodell, Surface Warfare Officer School, Newport, Rhode Island. Graduating with distinction, Brian J. Granger, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Gwendolyn Marie Graves, Naval Computer Telecommunications Station, Keflavik, Iceland. Ned Ashley Griffith, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Robert Leland Guerin, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Graduating with distinction, Mark Allen Hilton, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Brian E. Jackson, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. J. H. Johnson, Surface Warfare Officer School, Newport, Rhode Island. Robert Allen Keating, Naval Supply Corps School, Athens, Georgia. Graduating with distinction, Wendy Marie Keevan, Naval Civil Engineer Corps Officer School, Port Hueneme, California. Michael W. Condis, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Derek Douglas Christine, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Hyuk Lee, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Kenneth Lawrence Malcolms, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Charles R. Marshall, Surface Warfare Officer School, Newport, Rhode Island. Christopher A. McElduff, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Graduating with distinction, Richard W. Meyer, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Keith W. Merchant, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Kevin H. Marai, Naval Civil Engineer Corps Officer School, Port Hueneme, California. Liam Q. Gwynn, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Graduating with distinction, Eric D. Aller, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Joseph E. Ostegui, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Graduating with distinction, Andre Paramel, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Graduating with distinction, Charles Allen Peterson, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Jason T. Provolenko, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Kenneth Stephen Ritchie, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Jeffrey Rivers, Surface Warfare Officer School, Newport, Rhode Island. Jill C. Roberts, Commander, Patrol Wing 1 Detachment, Diego Garcia. John Christopher Robinson, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Richard S. Rhode, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Graduating with distinction, David W. Ruth, Surface Warfare Officer School, Newport, Rhode Island. Robert S. Russell, Naval Civil Engineer Corps Officer School, Port Hueneme, California. Gregory Philip Salee, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Timothy Brian Smith, Surface Warfare Officer School, Newport, Rhode Island. Robert P. Strong, Naval Aviation Schools Command, Pensacola, Florida. Graduating with distinction, Michael Russell Tasker, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Graduating with distinction, Rod William Tribble, Naval Civil Engineer Corps Officer School, Port Hueneme, California. Eric T. Whiteley, Naval Civil Engineer Corps Officer School, Port Hueneme, California. Russell E. Wood, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. James W. Woodward, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Kevin Bradley Youngblood, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida. Brian S. Zito, Nuclear Power School, Orlando, Florida.
I do hereby accept appointment as ensign in the United States Navy. And do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against